We had the Chevy Bolt, which was the world's first plug-in hybrid. And what happened was then Tesla came out with all electric. And all electric was much more appealing to the environmentally oriented people and I would say wealthy liberals with a social change mindset on both the East Coast and West Coast of the United States. And they bought Teslas like they were going out of style. So what's the solution? The solution is, weirdly enough, act. Not, not, not we should have done hybrids first. We did do hybrids first. Then they went out of favor, and now they're back because hybrids are a way of getting Americans into an electrically driven vehicle with a range of, say, 30 to 50 miles.
Thanks for joining us once again. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Today we're doing our latest installment of Bob Lutz and General Motors modifying strategy relative to the new excellent comments about Tesla. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. If you enjoy the show, would like some more information on better investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. We also want to ask you to take some time to like and subscribe if you enjoy the show. So, as I was preparing for the show today, we usually do sort of a Bob Lutz update on where Tesla's at. As you know, we've done a number of shows where we looked at some negative comments that were made by Bob Lutz and the folks at GM about Tesla over time, but we're now in sort of a entering a détente period. So, as you just saw from the clip from Bob, what he pointed out was that we're in an evolutionary process rather than the revolutionary process that Elon Musk is talking about. And what he's really focused on is the fact that GM was one of the early adopters of the EV/gasoline engine to make up for short mileage that people might need. So first, I just wanted to acknowledge the tone. Bob is now acknowledging that by Tesla being in the EV game and the most highly regarded player in that game, it facilitates a way in which American EVs and technology are now at the top of the industry. And so he's sort of putting a big brother arm around Tesla where he's been putting the negative big brother arm on Tesla for an extended period of time. So I wanted to bring up a few observations about where we are in the EV process. The first one is just the fact that there's something called first principles of physics. So one of the things that Elon talked about a lot is the fact that a lot of the way the company is driven is by what are the first principles of physics for the situation and how would one apply that. So the first one I wanted to highlight is just the fact that yes, people are moving over to hybrid vehicles. The hybrid vehicles, as Bob Lutz has confirmed, are extremely expensive because you're having to run two different sort of processes at the same time, which is expensive. Plus, that technology comes from Toyota, and they got to pay them their fee as well. So, what doesn't make sense from his comments was that GM/Bob Lutz at the time, when they were developing the Chevy Volt and the Chevy Bolt, they sort of created what's one of the best-selling electric vehicles behind Tesla. But the problem is that they didn't bother thinking about the charging network they were going to put up. So one of the things that I've been casually doing over the last few years is when I go by a Tesla facility, in this case Wawa is one place that has a lot of Tesla chargers, the location of the charging facilities for competing entities tend to be, certainly grocery stores and stuff on a limited basis, one or two charging facilities, but they also tend to at least put one of them in wherever Tesla's charging, maybe even two. The there's a question mark that comes up with this plan, though, which is, okay, 75% of Tesla's chargers are fast charge, which means that you can get to about 80% on any Tesla car in, let's say, a half hour, and then choose if you want to go home or not, or stick it off the remainder of the time to get your charge up. Now, what I don't understand and am amazed by is only 25% of the chargers being installed by competing firms are in the fast charge variety. And it's not clear that most of the manufacturers in that space have fast charging for their vehicles. That's probably the case now that the deal has been signed with Tesla to facilitate charging at Tesla facilities. But in general, I don't know the exact number, but we could probably go 50% fast, 50% slow. Well, the reason why all the EV sales slowed down is this very issue. Consumers were saying to the large manufacturers, okay, we're interested in buying EVs and we're willing to buy your EV in this case. As consumers got a hold of this, range anxiety popped up, which was that, the most famous example that I saw was a $130,000 Porsche, where instead of the 2-hour trip that was planned, it was 6 or 7 hours because they had a hard time finding charging facilities and having to wait the time to get the car charged up enough to get to their destination. So whether it was a cheap EV or a very expensive one, they didn't anticipate some of the charging issues that Tesla did in terms of having their facilities in place. So one could say that this is a giant problem. This seems kind of minor, but the auto companies had gotten used for somebody else, in this case, grocery stores or other manufacturers providing, if you will, the gas station in the form of electric vehicles. But that whole process was very poorly thought out. And there's something called cognitive dissonance, where you see something, you can't believe it. And one of the things that I saw recently was I've seen 2 or 3 deep vehicles waiting to charge at EV facilities that are not Tesla. But then I was seeing video of like 8 or 10 deep cars waiting to charge. And what I couldn't figure out is, how is that going to work? And the reason for that is if you have a slow charging vehicle that goes to a slow charger, in theory, for every hour you wait, that's an hour of charging you have. So theoretically, those people are really trying to avoid running out, and they're just trying to get home. But it really illustrates the fact that the charging component of the build out of the electric vehicles by domestic and obviously the BMWs and international manufacturers really wasn't well thought out. And it shows why sales have slowed from most/many manufacturers except Tesla in the space. Because range anxiety is real. It happens to be a little bit colder than expected, a little bit hotter than expected. You're burning battery because the battery is trying to condition itself. So what I'm getting at here is that, number one, yes, Bob Lutz is now acknowledging Tesla has done a brilliant job in their charging network, and therefore he's highlighting the fact that all of the predictions that he made about Tesla being blown away by all these new products being put out by competitors is not happening. This further brings up the question mark of, well, wait a second, if this is a competitive advantage that's demonstrated that makes a difference for consumers, Elon's decision to start opening up the network to competing vehicles being charged was a huge surprise, because those are sales that won't go to Tesla anymore, because those vehicles can go to his chargers. Not to mention the fact that while those chargers are being used by competitors, Tesla's vehicles cannot charge at the same time. So I'm kind of bringing all this up to you because it's been interesting to watch the evolution of the process of how GM and others are dealing with Tesla, even though they still have techniques in place that include making sure that Teslas can't be sold in certain states, for example, Michigan. And it boggles the mind to see the hatred of the vehicles on one hand, and at the same time working to cooperate with them because they know they do not have the charging facilities to service the people. So, Bob, I want to say thank you for your affirmations on Tesla that switched from hatred. I also have to say I'm very surprised that if the first principles of physics and their impact on EVs and making sure that you have a quality charging network uh, can be anticipated by Tesla, and you guys are seeing it. It's amazing to see you make a commitment in terms of cars, but not make the commitment in terms of building your own charging facilities that are optimized to your own cars. So we really look forward to your comments on this. It seems like a light point, but literally the reason why Ford, GM, and others have had to shut down most of their EV activities, building battery plants, etc., is one very simple point, and that is that consumers want fast, reliable charging facilities, and they want that from whichever manufacturer they're going to focus their purchases from. And if they're not getting that, it's a sign they may go elsewhere or avoid doing EVs altogether. So again, we really look forward to your comments on this. Again, thanks, Bob, for the change of perspective on the fact that Tesla won't be blown away by the arriving vehicles from all these manufacturers you described previously. And it's just mind-boggling to me that you guys didn't figure this charging piece out. But I'm happy Tesla did, and Tesla is still doing well in the space. So this is the end of our formal discussion of EVs. I just wanted to finish up with our usual health tips. Just don't forget your 25 leg lifts a day with a 5-pound weight on both legs. Strengthen the quad muscles and increase the amount, increase the strength of quad muscles, reducing chance of knee issues. Also wanted to encourage you to consider learning about Celtic salt, CELTIC. I think you'll be impressed by the process of how Celtic salt behaves differently than normal table salt. Next, I want to remind you, please take time to not go to bed within 2 hours of eating. Minimum, ideally 4 hours to let that food digest before you go to bed. At any rate, once again, we want to thank you for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, lehitro, hoda haifez, darasiche, ni hama, arrivederci, namaste. And in Jamaica, we say enough respect, walk, good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.